صبر دے مالک نو سین لیلا کے اذن جے دے ویتے میں صبر دی ساز چ اکبر دے سینے چو سانگ ہٹاوا ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا آکے ماں قاسم دی مات احسان کری دیر تائیں لردا روی تیرے ٹکر مطابق بدنی میرے ویر حسین دی ساما ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا سین زینب نے کیا کھویا بد کیا جیتے ساموار کیا مینو شام قریبا دے ویلے دے ویگا گون سلاوا ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا پترا دیا لاجاں دے ٹکرے ریلا بیدیا بچ سہلاوا ماوا کربلا دیا ماوا
فاتح کے درخواست ہے بیگم ناہید شاکر اور حسین کی ہے. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. چشم نبی کے خواب کو کہتے ہیں سیدہ عصمت کے آفتاب کو کہتے ہیں سیدہ قرآن کے جواب کو کہتے ہیں سیدہ منہ بولتی کتاب کو کہتے ہیں سیدہ یہ ذات یوں کتاب کی تفسیر بن گئی یہ ذات یوں کتاب کی تفسیر بن گئی لفظوں میں ڈھل کے آئے تطہیر بن گئی، چشم نبی کے خواب کو. درود پڑھ لیں باؤ. دنیا سے جب گزر گئی زہرا جگر فگار، دنیا سے جب گزر گئی زہرا جگر فگار، چلائی سر کو پیٹ کے زینب کہ میں بن آپ کے ملے گا ہمیں کس طرح قرار، اب کون ہے ہمارا بجز شاہ ذوالفقار، اب کون ہے ہمارا بجز شاہ ذوالفقار، رنج و الم میں غم کی گھٹا دل پہ چھائی، ہم لٹ گئے رسول خدا کی دہائی ہے، ہم لٹ گئے رسول خدا کی دہائی ہے، اتنے میں آئے پیٹتے سر کو حسن، ماں سے لپٹ کے کہتے تھے دونوں بشور، اماں اٹھاؤ سر کو کہ آئے ہیں نور، اے اماں جان ہم کو نہیں ایک پل بھی چین، اے اماں جان ہم کو نہیں ایک پل، پہلے ہی ہم دکھی ہیں نہ ہم کو رلائے، نانا کی طرح ہم کو نہ یوں چھوڑے جائیے، نانا کی طرح ہم کو نہ یوں چھوڑے جائیے، ماں سے لپٹ کے کرتے تھے حسنین جب، ناگاہ روتے ہوئے شاہ دیکھا کہ غش میں فاطمہ زہرا کے نور، دیکھ کر دلاسا بچوں کو بولے شہ انہیں، دیکھ کر دلاسا بچوں کو بولے شہ، پیارو نہ رو جان میری نکلی جاتی ہے، سن لو صدا بطول کے رونے کی آتی ہے، سن لو صدا بطول کے رونے کی آتی ہے، جب دنیا سے جب گزر گئی.
Brothers and sisters, please recite Surah Fatiha for the mother of Brother Zakir, Begam Naheed Shakir. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم اغفرهم وارحمهم واسكنها بجوار محمد. اللهم صل. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعمه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون الذي لا يدركه بحد الهمم ولا يناله غوث الفتن الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نات موجود ولا وقت محدود ولا أجل ممدود فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووتد بالصخور ميدان أرض ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبنا وحبيب رب العالمين بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن على أعدائهم أجمعين من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون وما تنفقوا من شيء فإن الله به عليم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This verse of the Quran, Surah Al-Imran, verse number 92, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in this verse, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, that by no means shall you attain or by no means shall you reach goodness until what? حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, until you spend or until you give from what you love. No way, there's no way, lan, this word, this particle lan, it's come in another place in the Quran when Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it wasn't Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, it was actually the people that were going with Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. They told Hazrat Musa, Ya Musa, we want to see the Lord. And because they constantly asked Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, then he says, Ya Allah, let me be able to see you. I want to be able to see you. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? You will never, he uses the particle lan. Lan, this particle, it means, it comes with the meaning of nafi al-abadi. Meaning what? It comes with the meaning of rejecting, or it comes with the meaning of you won't be able to ever see me. Not just in this world, but also in the next world. Nafi al-abadi means forever. Negation, forever. That you will never be able to see me, not just in this world, but you will not be able to see me in the next world. The same way, here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? Lan tanalul bir. You will never, not even in this world, this particle lan, we said, comes from the meaning of nafil abad. You will never be able to attain or reach goodness until you give from what you love. Until you give from what you love. Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. Why is this important? Because this idea of sacrifice, at the end of the day, this is what we have. If this is, inshallah, tying in to the month of Muharram, because the month of Muharram, at the end of the day, is the ultimate sacrifice that an individual can give, which was Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam, who gave that ultimate. He gave his family, forget wealth, no, his family, himself, his family, hatta a 6-month-old. That was the ultimate sacrifice. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what here? That you will never be able to reach goodness until you give from what you love. These are the amals that we take. Amir al-Mu'minin, this is Eisal Sawab Majlis. And I'm speaking about this why? Because some people, they believe that, hey, you know what, once someone's passed away, there's nothing that we can do for them. No, which is absolutely wrong. Once someone passes away, there's so much you can do for them. There's more that you can do for them now that they've passed away than you could have done when they were alive. And you have to remember that once they pass away, that's when they need an individual the most. That's when they need someone the most. Here in this world, what can we do? For example, this is Eisal Sawab for a mother, for parents. And I spoke about the importance of parents the last time we had Majlis, and I remember this. But what can we do for parents in this world? give them water, look after them, take care of them, correct? How long is that going to be for? How long is that? 50 years? 60 years? 70 years? 80 years maximum? Average, like I'm talking about the average. 80 years maximum. What is 80 years compared to infinity? What is 80 years compared? Absolutely nothing. It's nothing. When our parents are alive, we can look after them. We can treat them with kindness for a maximum of 80 years. After that 80 years, if we forget them, after they pass away, after we bury them, we forget them, what are they going to do in their grave? Their book of Amal has closed. Their book of Amal has closed. But that does not mean that you can't do any Amal or you can't do any good deeds to help them. That does not mean that. Because Amir al-Mu'mineen, what does he say? He says, the problem that some people have, and I'm just paraphrasing, I'm not quoting word for word. There are people that look at the Amir al-Mu'mineen Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam also. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. There are people who look at their past and they'll either cry or they're happy. There are people that look at the future, but they don't know anything about their future. And the Imam, he says, all you have is the present. All you have is the present. Whatever deeds that you need to do, it's in this present. That's it. Whether those deeds are for yourself or those deeds are for those loved ones that have left this world. At the end of the day, Amir al-Mu'mineen says what? Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says that this world is not supposed to be lasting forever. This human being, this world does not last forever. This human being is reaching his end. And all of us, every breath that we take is closer to our death. Every breath that we take is closer to our death. And Amir al-Mu'mineen says this. He says every breath that an individual takes, it brings them closer to that everlasting life. So what is it? What are the amal? What are the deeds that we are doing today that will help us in the afterlife? What are the best deeds an individual can do? For example, today we're commemorating Brother Zakir's mother's death, correct? But does that mean that other people whose parents have passed away, they can't do anything for their parents? Does that mean, for example, now Brother Zakir, he can't? No, it does not mean that. The Holy Prophet himself, he sees Hazrat Hamza alayhi salam in his dream. The best amal that you can do for yourself and for your loved ones. He sees Hazrat Hamza alayhi salam in his dream. And he sees that Hazrat Hamza, there's a bowl of pomegranate in front of him. And as soon as they're eating, the pomegranates, they change into dates. They change into dates. The Holy Prophet, he asked Hazrat Hamza, "Oh my uncle," this was after the shahadat of Hazrat Hamza. He asked Hazrat Hamza, "Oh my uncle, what are the best deeds that an individual can do for this world?" Meaning the alam al-barzakh, the afterlife. Hazrat Hamza, he tells the Holy Prophet, "Ya Rasulullah, there are 3 things an individual can do that will help them the most in this world." And what are those 3 things? He goes, one is to give an individual a glass of water. Give an individual a glass of water. And this same type of narration, it comes regarding who? Some of the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salam. Habib ibn Muzahir. For example, I'm going to go back to that story. But Habib ibn Muzahir, for example, someone saw an individual, an alim, he saw Habib ibn Muzahir in his dream. He asked Habib, "Ya Habib, would you want to come back to this world?" Habib, he says, "Yes, I would, for one thing." What? So I could give an individual water for the sake of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salam. So I can give an individual water for the sake of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Hazrat Hamza, he tells the Holy Prophet, one, to give water. Giving water to an individual, Hazrat Hamza, he says, it gives you countless blessings. Why? Because you have to remember, water is the source of life. anything that is living, it has water in it. It has water. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, he says what? I've created with water. Whatever creature that lives, it's been created with water. 1. 2. Hazrat Hamza, he says, Ya Rasulullah, the second thing is to send salawat on Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The second thing that helps an individual here in this world is to send salawat on Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. And what about the third? The third thing, Ya Rasulullah, is the love of Ali ibn Abi Talib. These are the three things that help an individual in that afterlife. The love of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam is personal to every individual. Personal. Once an individual has left this world, however much love they had, that's how much Amir al-Mu'mineen is going to help them in the next world. However much love they had for the Ahlul Bayt, that's how much those Ahlul Bayt are going to help them in the next world. But what about the other two? Can you not give water and send the sawab to your loved ones? Yes, you can. You can. Can you not send salawat on the Ahlul Bayt and send the sawab to your loved ones? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Can you not pray 2 rakat, salat, and send that to the loved ones? Yes, you can. I'm not looking at all the wajibat that need to be done. For example, for the parents, the missed prayers, the missed hajj, the missed fasting. No, I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at something beyond that now. Beyond that. Those are fara'is for the children. Those meaning what? Those are wajib for the eldest child, the eldest son to make up. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at what an individual can do as extra credit. As extra credit, that's what I'm looking at. These three things. Today we're here. Tomorrow we'll also be in a grave. We'll also be in a grave. There are some people that came to the Holy Prophet, they were Bedouins, and they came to the Holy Prophet and they said, Ya Rasulullah, we can't come and see you all the time. We can't, it's hard for us to come and see you all the time. Can you tell us something can you tell us something that will be with us and we can carry with us even when we leave? The Holy Prophet, he says, make sure that you have a very good companion. Make sure that you have a very good companion. And the person who was leading that group, he asked, Ya Rasulullah, can you explain? What do you mean? He goes, look, you're not here in this world for a long time. You're not here in this world for a long time. The companion that you have, this companion will also be with you in your grave. The companion that you have, he'll also be with you in your grave. If the companion is good, he'll help you out. If the companion is bad, it will be detrimental to you in the grave. At the end, the Holy Prophet, he says, this companion isn't a human being. This companion is your amal that you're going to take with you. If your amal, if your acts are good, these acts, they will help you in the grave. No, if they were nothing but lying, nothing but cheating, nothing but stealing, then they will be detrimental to you in the grave. And you see so many stories in regards to people and their actions. Hatta people that did good deeds, or it looked like they were doing good deeds. But then when it came time in the grave, you see that, or you hear that they were being punished. Why were they being punished? Because you have to remember, when it comes to good deeds, niyat, it carries a huge amount of weight when it comes to good deeds. Niyat, intention. I can have the intention of doing something good, but if the effect is bad, will I be punished for it? Not necessarily. But if I have the intention of doing something bad, but if the outcome ends up becoming good, what will happen? I will be judged on that intention too. I will be judged on that intention. So the intention an individual has. And it ties in with this verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? He says that do not even think that you can reach goodness until you give from what you love. The problem that we face today is that when it comes to giving to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't give from what we love. No, we don't. What do I mean? When the clothes have been completely torn, they're tattered, they have holes in them, then what do we say? You know what? Let's give this to the poor. Let's give this to the poor. When, for example, the fridge isn't working, the microwave isn't working, when all of these are broken, oh, let's give it to the masjid. Babulilm, whatever center. Let's give it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the computers aren't working, you give it to the masjid. Is this what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants? Something that you and I have no use for anymore, that's what we want to give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We're giving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the worst that we can? When you do this, do you know whose sunnat you're following? Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, he had two sons in the beginning. Habil and Qabil. Habil, he gave from the best that he had. Qabil, he gave from the worst. Habil gave from the best that he had. Qabil, he gave from the worst. So when you give something that you have no use for anymore, because that's what Qabil did. That's what Qabil did. He gave from what? That it's something he had no use for anymore. He said, I'm going to give this for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whose sunnat are you and I following if we give from something that you and I don't use? When we have no love for those clothes, then we give it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we have no love for those electronics, then we give it to Allah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says what? You will never attain goodness, you will never reach goodness until you give from what you love. What you love. If I love new clothes, then I give my mu'mineen brothers and sisters new clothes. I give to Allah, I give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, new clothes. If I myself love new stuff, that's what I give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the ultimate sacrifice was what? Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam. That's the ultimate sacrifice. Why do I say that? Something that everyone loves more than materialistic things is what? Their life. Their life. No one can say, you know what, I love this thing more than I love my life. Everyone, they'll love their life to the utmost degree. Abu Abdullah Hussain, that's what he gave, his life. But in regards to this verse, all the translators, when it comes to the word bir, they've translated it to mean goodness. Goodness. And yes, that's a translation. But when it comes to the interpretation of this verse, a companion of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. A companion of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he comes to him with khums money. He comes to him with khums money. And the Imam, he looks at him and he tells him that maybe you think that we're in need of this money. Maybe you think that we are in need of this money. The companion, maybe he just had this thought. Because the Imam would not say that to him if the companion did not have this thought. As soon as he says this, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, we're not in need of this. The only reason we take this khums is just so your amal can be purified. The only reason that we take khums is just so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will purify your amal. 1, 2. Why? The only reason that we take khums is so whatever is left can be purified for you to use. can be purified to use. And Imam, in interpreting this same verse, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he asked him, do you know what bir is in this verse? The companion goes, Ya Rasulullah, you know better. That's when Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that we are the bir. We are bir. The Ahlul Bayt are bir. The Ahlul Bayt are that goodness. So if you take that interpretation, what does it mean? That you and I will never be able to reach the Ahlul Bayt until we give from what we love. You and I will never be able to reach the Ahlul Bayt. We'll never get close to them until we give from what we love. So what is it that we love? The ultimate sacrifice is our own life. It's our own life. And we're not there yet to give that ultimate sacrifice. Why? Because we're not even able to give when it comes to materialistic things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's very difficult for us to depart from materialistic things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let alone give our life for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake. If you want to see that bir, getting close, not to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, getting close to the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Outside of the Ahlul Bayt, you look at who? Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. The sacrifice of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, meaning Hazrat Ismail, the willingness to sacrifice Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam, tells you what? That Hazrat Ibrahim, he wanted to get closer to the Ahlul Bayt. The only way to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to get closer to the Ahlul Bayt first. If you look at this hierarchy, if human being is down here, if you and I are down here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all the way at the top. Between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and human beings are prophets. Correct? Between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and human beings are the awsiya. When I say human beings, I mean people like you and I. I'm not trying to say that, the prophets are not human. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. We, people that are sinful, we're down here. Above us, there's a category of people. Who? The awsiya, for example. The awliya, for example. Right underneath Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this hierarchy of creation is the Ahlul Bayt. Underneath the Ahlul Bayt, the prophets. Underneath the prophets, then you have the mu'mineen split up in their categories. So we are at the bottom. To get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we need to get to those individuals that are the closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And who are the closest individuals to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And I pointed out in my lecture when we were speaking about Eid al-Mubahila. Those individuals that are known as Allah. Those individuals, Zat al-Rajabiyya, Abu Abdullah Hussain is the 15th of Rajab. And I said this, the first sentence that you recite is what? Assalamu alaikum ya Allah. May peace and blessings be upon you, O family of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This family, maybe people think that, hey, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. He has no offspring. If he has no offspring, then what is this family? No, this family is not a literal family of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This word family is to show how close they are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a literal family. But if he did, it would be these individuals. It would be these individuals. If he did, he doesn't. This is how close they are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when it comes to our acts, when it comes to our actions, what is it that we're sending forward? What is it that we're sending forward for our afterlife? This is what we need to ask ourselves. If you look at what the ulama do, the urafa, what did they used to do? Hatta they even say that what you should do every day. You should have a notebook and you should write the good deeds that you've done for that day and the sins that you committed that day. Take an accounting of yourself before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes an accounting. Why? So you can see, today I've done 5 good deeds. And I've done 3 sins. For example, tomorrow you shouldn't have 5 good deeds and 3 sins. No. Tomorrow you should have 10 good deeds and maybe 2 sins. The good deeds should always increase, the sins should always decrease. If they don't, then that's what Amir al-Mu'mineen said. Someone who spends 24 hours and their amal are the same as yesterday, then they've wasted 24 hours. If their amal, if an individual's amal today are the same as they were yesterday, they've wasted 24 hours that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave. And this is what we need to understand and try to get out of, this rut that everyone's in. So what are these amal that we can do? The same amal that you and I can do for ourselves, a lot of those amal we can do for our loved ones that have passed away. Loved ones that have passed away. For example, one of the best amal that you can do is give sadaqah in the name of your loved ones. Give sadaqah. There's also giving food in the name of your loved ones. Hatta the Holy Prophet, he says that anyone that gives clothes in the summertime or the winter time to another deserving brother or sister, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's wajib, incumbent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to dress this individual with the garbs of heaven. Anyone that gives clothes to who? A fellow Muslim in the winter time or the summertime, the Holy Prophet says it becomes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it wajib on himself to dress this individual with the clothes of heaven. But what kind of clothes are you and I going to give? It goes back to whatever we have no use for anymore. It ends up going back to whatever we have no use for anymore. And this happens every year. You and I are witnesses to this. What ends up happening? Clothes they get brought to the centers. Why? They're going to go to Karbala. I've seen this myself. All the used clothes, they get brought to the centers and then they go to Karbala. Now because Karbala is open, or else before they used to go to all the poor countries, Pakistan, India, wherever Mu'mineen were. But today, they're going to Karbala. If you're going to donate the best that you can donate, not the worst. Donate the best that you can donate. When it comes to the amal that we can do, one of the best amal that you can do, not just for yourself, but for the deceased that have gone. Saleh Rahim. Saleh Rahim is one of those amal that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. In regards to family ties, Saleh Rahim, Qat'a Rahim. In regards to these family ties, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that Qat'a Rahim, the cutting off of family ties, is one of those sins that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punishes an individual in this world. He doesn't wait until the next world. No, he starts punishing them in this world. And one of the punishments is what? One of the punishments, the Imams, they say, is constricting rizq. Constriction of rizq. A lot of people, they ask, you know what? Rizq has been constricted. Is it qat'a rahim that you've done? Think about that. Have you cut off family ties? If you've cut off family ties, was it a legitimate reason that you cut off family ties, or no, was it illegitimate? A lot of times it's illegitimate. There are some reasons, or there are some instances where it becomes necessary and wajib. But a lot of times it's not. Have you cut off family ties? Maintaining family ties. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says what? He says that maintaining family ties, one of the sawab or one of the rewards for that is the lengthening of your life. Prolonging of your life. Maintaining family ties. Amal that we can do for ourselves, for our loved ones deceased. This tabarruk, food that we have, Muharram, all these days that we have these food. How does this food translate and turn into sawab in the next world? How does me giving charity translate and turn into reward for the marhumin in the next world? How does it turn into that? You have to remember that it's not the same food. It's not the meat or the blood that it reaches Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The verse of the Quran in regards to the sacrifice. It's not the meat or the blood that reaches Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it is the taqwa of the individual that reaches Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's the taqwa. 1, 2. It's not this food that will reach the marhumin. No. It gets transformed into whatever that world requires. What do I mean? When we send money from here, for example, to Pakistan, what happens to the money? Do they get dollars? No, they don't. What do they get? Rupees. It automatically changes into the currency of that country. It automatically changes into the currency of that country. The same thing happens with these. It's food here, but the reward, when it goes to them, it will automatically change into the currency of the afterlife. It automatically turns into the currency of that afterlife. And people, what do? Some people, they don't believe in this stuff. Shias, I'm not looking at outside of Shiism. I'm looking at within Shiism. Within Shiism. That they don't believe in this stuff. Why? Because either they don't understand or no one's explained to them. Amal that you and I can do. Because this is what I want to talk about today. Amal that you and I can do for our afterlife and for the afterlife of the marhumin. As things are going, everyone's aware how the world is going right now. As things are going, inshallah, the zuhur of Imam Zaman is close upon us. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will finally see if those individuals who have said, Labbaik ya Hussain, will give that ultimate sacrifice. And you're seeing it today. You're seeing it today. The ones that have continually said Ya Hussain for 1400 years, they're the ones that are giving that sacrifice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked for. This lan tanalul bir. What we love the most. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When it comes to what we can do for our afterlife, the amal that are the best to do. If I was to say Salatul Layl, how many of us actually get up to do Salatul Layl? This is the question. Because the benefits of Salatul Layl are so numerous, you can do a speech about it itself. Salatul Layl. One of the benefits of Salatul Layl is what? When it comes to the constructing of the grave, it doesn't happen. One of the benefits of Salatul Layl is what? When it comes to the questioning in the grave, it doesn't happen. One of the benefits of Salatul Layl is when it comes to the taking out of the soul, that soul is being taken out with ease. One of the benefits of Salatul Layl, the Imams themselves, they say, look, one of the benefits of Salatul Layl, it's mustahab, yes. But one of the benefits is whatever you miss in your wajib prayers, the Salatul Layl makes up for it. Meaning what? Meaning the inattentiveness in our wajib prayers, the Salatul Layl, it makes up for it. We can speak about Salatul Layl. But many of us, it's very difficult to wake up for Fajr, let alone Salatul Layl. But you need to understand that Salatul Layl is the only mustahab prayer. The only mustahab prayer that can be prayed qaza. And it's better to pray it qaza than to pray it beforehand. It's better to pray it qaza than to pray beforehand. So it tells you how important Salatul Layl is when it comes to the amal of an individual. There is no other mustahab prayer that's better to pray qaza than it is before its time. Amal that you can do for your parents. Amal that you can do for the loved ones. The ziyarat that you recite. One of the best amal that you can do for yourself and for your parents. Ziyarat Ashur. Ziyarat Ashur. If you don't have time to recite the 100 lan and the 100 salam, no problem. Just do it one time. Quran, recite Quran. Send the sawab to the loved ones. But many of us, what do? We don't have time. We don't have time. If you don't have time, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it very easy. Made it very easy. If you don't have time to make up the missed prayers of your parents, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you know what? Then pay someone to make up those missed prayers. If you don't have time to make up the missed fasts of your parents, then you know what? Pay someone to make up those fasts. If you don't have time to recite or go for ziyarat on behalf of your loved ones that have passed away, then ask someone to do it on your behalf. When it comes to these amal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it very easy for our loved ones that have passed away. But we end up making it difficult for ourselves. We end up making it difficult. The only thing that an individual will go to the next world with is their aqeedah. Whatever their aqeedah was, that book has been closed for them. The book of their aqeedah has been closed on them. That's it. It's been closed on them. But when it comes to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself, Hadith Qudsi from the Holy Prophet, even if the parent was a kafir and the child becomes Muslim and they recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, just the fact that that child recites Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not punish the parents. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at how easy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it. We end up making it difficult for ourselves. Amal that you and I can do. There's so many amal. Drinking or giving water in the name of Imam Hussain. Muharram is upon us. Muharram is coming. Giving someone a glass of water in the name of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Feeding someone in the name of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. These are very simple. And no one's saying you have to cater to 900 people. No one's saying that. Just one meal, that's it. One person, that's it. You don't have to cater to tens of thousands. No, if you can, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you, mashallah, do it. Just one person. This is what everyone should do this. This Muharram at the very least. You have water, give it to another mu'min and say, this is for the sake of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. If every mu'min does that, that's what? That sawab that Hazrat Hamza alayhi salam, that sawab that Habib ibn Muzahar alayhi salam wanted to come back to this world for. If every mu'min does that. Brothers and sisters, when you look at where we are, what amal are we taking with us to our grave? That companion, is that companion going to benefit us in the grave, or is this companion going to harm us in the grave? In Ayatollah Kochani's book, Ma'ad, or Manazil Akhirah, there's a story where there was a Arif, he was worshipping by the graveyard, and some of his friends, they came to him and they asked him, Moulana, have you seen anything that was very, very weird to you? Have you seen something that was, amazing to you? And he goes, I did see something just the other day. Ayatollah Kochani's book, Manazil al-Akhirah. And he goes, yeah, I did, just the other day. And they asked him, what is it? I saw that they buried a body here in this graveyard, in this grave the other day. And right after they buried it, I saw two individuals come into that grave. One, it was in the form of light, and the other was in the form of darkness. It was in the form of darkness, but it was in the form of a coyote, a wolf, an animal. And he says that both of them, they entered that grave. When they entered that grave, I see that that individual that looked like light, it's come running out of the grave and it's hobbling. It's been torn to bits, it has blood and it's hobbling, it's come out of the grave. And I didn't know what this was. So I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, can you tell me what is it that I saw? And he says that in my dream, I got my answer. And he goes, they asked him, what was the answer? And he says, that thing that came in the form of light was that individual's good deeds. That thing that came in the form of light, that it was that individual's good deeds. And that thing, that animal that came in the form of darkness, that was that individual's sins and his bad deeds. And why did the form of light come out? Because the bad deeds that this individual had, they overpowered the good deeds that he had. The bad deeds ended up overpowering the good deeds that he had. And what happened? That light, it came out. So you see how important it is to have as many good deeds as we can. Because that grave is just waiting. And when you look at this time that we've been given, 70 years, 60 years, 80 years, whatever it is, it can either be used to do as much good as we want, or it can be used to do as much evil as we want. But once we're in that grave, we will have to pay for it. We will have to answer for that. And when it comes to that grave, there's something for the mu'mineen to look forward to. Not just the grave, but when the soul is coming out. A companion of Imam Raza alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad, he was in the last seconds of his life, last minutes, last seconds of his life. And he sees that the Holy Prophet's there. He sees, he himself, when Imam Raza alayhi salam asked him, what is it that you see? He says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, I see the Holy Prophet here. I see Amir al-Mu'mineen here. I see Lady Zahra. I see Imam Hassan. I see Imam Hussain. I see Imam Zain al-Abidin. I see Imam Muhammad Baqir. I see Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. I see your father. And I also see you. I also see you. So what does this mean? The Imams themselves, they say that a mu'min will see us when the soul is being taken out. When the soul is being taken out. And we're the ones that ask this mu'min or mu'mina, do you want to come with us or do you want to go back? Do you want to come with us or do you want to go back? And that's when this mu'min or mu'mina, they say, no, we want to go with you. We want to go with you. This is something for everyone that has lost someone to remember. The ones that we loved, because their aqeedah was right, they're with those individuals who can give heaven and hell. They're with those individuals. That's something for us to remember. And that's what gives us solace when someone passes away in the community amongst the mu'mineen. That this individual, yes, he was amongst us, but at the same time now he's with individuals that were better than us. That are better than us. Tonight we're here gathered. Why? To remember a mother of this community. And I spoke last week about the importance of mothers. But what should we say about not just a mother of this community, what should we say about that mother of those 11 imams who even the 12th imam wants to come back for? You look at the life of Lady Zahra salawatullahi alayha. especially the end. You see the mazlumiyat in her life. You see the way that she was oppressed. And you can't do anything but cry. Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulallah. Sallallahu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sallallahu alayki ya Siddiqatu Fatima. Sallallahu alayka ya Hasan al-Mujtaba. Sallallahu alayka ya Gharib al-Ghuraba. Ya Aba Abdullah al-Hussain. Brothers and sisters, Lady Zahra salawatullahi alaiha, her masa'ib, they start when her mother passed away. You look at the narrations, in the narration they say that Lady Zahra, she was about 6 years old when Lady Khadija passed away. And before Lady Khadija passed away, Lady Zahra, she's with Lady Khadija. And Lady Khadija, she tells us, Zahra, oh my daughter, can you do me a favor? Can you tell your father that Khadija does not have a kafan? Can you tell your father that whatever mal, whatever wealth that Khadija had, she spent on the Muslims and she doesn't even have a kafan now? Can you ask him that libas, that cloth that he used to wear for Salatul Layl, can you ask him to give me that as his kafan? Lady Zahra Salawatullah, she starts to cry. When she starts to cry, the Holy Prophet, he comes and he asks Lady Khadija, what does she want? And she tells Lady Khadija, she says to the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, I have two wishes. One is that you look after my daughter Fatima. Ya Rasulullah, she never cried in my presence. Ya Rasulullah, I don't want to see any tears in her eyes. And this is the same wasiyah that Lady Zahra gave to Amir al-Mu'mineen in regards to Hassan and Hussain alayhi salam. Lady Khadija, she said, Ya Rasulullah, my second wish is that I don't have anything anymore. Can you give me that libas for my kafan? Then Rasulullah, he says, Ya Khadija, I will give you this libas. Oh people, when Lady Zahra she's older now, she loses her father also. When she loses her father, that's not where her masa'ib ends. Her masa'ib, it starts with Lady Khadija, it goes to Rasulullah, then it comes to herself. The people of Medina, what have they done? The Holy Prophet has just passed away and they're coming and asking for bayat from Amir al-Mu'mineen. When Amir al-Mu'mineen doesn't come out of the house, what did they do? They burned down that house and they kicked down that door. When they kicked down that door, it's Lady Zahra who's in between that door and that wall. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Wal-la'natullah ala qawm al-kafirin. Matam Hussain.
दरे बतूल जलाया गया मदीने में, दरे बतूल जलाया गया मदीने में, अली को खून रुलाया, अली को खून रुलाया गया मदीने में, दरे बतूल जलाया गया मदीने में, दरे बतूल जलाया गया मदीने में, दरे बतूल जलाया गया मदीने में। न जाने क्या हुआ बादे नबी ज़माने को, नमाज जिससे है कायम वो घर जलाने को, नमाजियों को बुलाया, नमाजियों کو بلایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول گیا مدینے میں۔ شکست پہل جو زہرا دکھائی دیتی ہے، حدیث بعزت منی دہائی دیتی ہے، نبی کا خون بہایا، نبی کا خون بہایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا بدونے سے۔ کہا رسول سے بنتے رسول نے جا کر، فدق نہ دیتے مجھے کو یہ غم نہیں تھا مگر، میرا مذاق اڑایا، میرا مذاق اڑایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا مدینے میں۔ غریب لکھے تکلم امیر کی کیسے، اندھیری رات میں چھپ کر مدینے والوں سے، مزار زہرا بنایا، مزار زہرا بنایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا مدینے میں۔ علی کو خون رلایا، علی کو خون رلایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول جلایا گیا مدینے میں، در بطول۔ یا حسین 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 یا حسین۔ جب کہ حل مل کی صدا، جب حل مل کی صدا مقتل سے صدا آئی، جب حل مل ناصر کی مقتل سے صدا آئی، جب حل مل ناصر کے مقتل سے صدا آئی ہے، جب حل مل ناصر کے مقتل سے صدا آئی، اس وقت نبی زادی، اس وقت بی زادی خیام میں گھبرائی، جب حل مل ناصر کے مقتل سے صدا آئی ہے، جب حل مل ناصر کے مقتل سے صدا آئی، سینے سے لگا کر تب معصوم سکینہ کو، سینے سے لگا کر تب معصوم سکینہ کو، روتی رہی دیر تلک، روتی رہی دیر تلک، بے کس زارا جائی، جب حل مل ناصر کی مقتل سے صدا آئی، جب حل مل ناصر
مقتل سے صدا آئی، جب ٹیلے پہ آئی مظلوم کی بہنیں تو، جب ٹیلے پہ آئی مظلوم کی بہنیں تو، ہر ظلم روا دیکھا، ہر ظلم روا دیکھا، اور تنہا ہے بھائی جب حل من ناصر کی مقتل سے صدا آئی ہے، جب حل من ناصر کی مقتل سے صدا آئی، جب شمر نہیں آیا بدبخت زمانے کا، جب شمر نہیں آیا بدبخت زمانے کا، شبیر کی بیٹی پھر، شبیر کی بیٹی پھر اسے دیکھ کے گھبرائی، جب حل من ناصر کی مقتل سے صدا آئی، جب حل من ناصر مقتل سے صدا آئی، سینے پہ سوار ہوا مظلوم کے وہ ظالم، سینے پہ سوار ہوا مظلوم کے وہ ظالم، تب فلک لرزتا تھا، تب فلک لرزتا تھا، اور دھرتی تھرائی جب حل من ناصر کے مقتل سے صدا آئی، یا حسین اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد، اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد، السلام علیکہ یا نبی اللہ، السلام علیکہ یا حبیب اللہ، السلام علیکہ یا حجت اللہ، السلام علیکہ یا رحمت للعالمین، السلام علیکہ یا باعث الہدا ورحمت اللہ وبرکاتہ، السلام علیکہ یا صوب الدین، السلام علیکہ یا امیر المومنین، السلام علیکہ علی ابن ابی طالب علیہ السلام، السلام علیکہ یا بنت رسول اللہ، السلام علیکہ یا فاطمۃ الزہرا سیدۃ نساء العالمین، السلام علیکہ یا ابا محمد حسن مجتبی علیہ السلام، السلام علی الحسین وعلی اولاد الحسین وعلی صحاب الحسین، السلام علی الحسین وعلی علی ابن الحسین وعلی اولاد الحسین وعلی صحاب الحسین، خصوصاً ابو الفضل العباس ابن امیر المومنین علیہ السلام، السلام علیکہ یا محمد ابن علی علیہ السلام، السلام علیکہ جعفر ابن محمد علیہ السلام، السلام علیکہ یا موسیٰ ابن جعفر علیہ السلام، السلام علیکہ یا علی ابن موسیٰ علیہ السلام، السلام علیکہ یا مولانا غریب الغرباء، السلام علیکہ یا معین الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام علیکہ شمس الشموس انیس النفوس ایھا المدفون بارض طوس، السلام علیکہ محمد ابن علی علیہ السلام، السلام علیکہ علی ابن محمد علیہ السلام، السلام علیکہ حسن ابن علی علیہ السلام، السلام علیکہ یا مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان، اللمان 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 من فتنة الزمان، السلام علیکہ یا خلیفۃ الرحمن، السلام علیکہ یا شریک القرآن، السلام علیکہ یا امام الانس والجان، اجل اللہ تعالی فرجک وسال اللہ تعالی مخرجک وظہورک ورحمت اللہ وبرکاتہ، اللہم صلی علی محمد۔
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم، اللہم کل ولیک الحجت ابن الحسن صلواتک علیہ وعلی آبائہ فی ہذہ ساعۃ وفی کل ساعۃ ولیاً وحافظاً وقائداً وناصراً ودلیلاً وعینا حتی تسکنہ أرضك طوعا ودمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.